Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor,
I'm Shawn DeWeerd.
and we are the show that talks about computers.
Technology and the internet.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And I know Shawn has had a very, very exciting couple of weeks. First off, you'll be able to watch the video of him walking around the show floor of the National Association of Broadcasters, the big NAB show. This is your first show that you went to, right?
So it's the first time I've went to this specific trade show for broadcast. Yeah. So it's an annual show they do in Vegas. It's the largest broadcasting trade show in the world.
Right.
And holy crap, it's big. So
Now,
I did a live chat with Andy while we were there. I was walking on just one of the buildings of the trade floor. So
yeah, they had stuff everywhere, and it was funny because, of course, broadcasting covers television, it covers radio, covers HD radio. Now it's covering the internet as well.
So it's interesting to see because I've been in the broadcasting. Andy, obviously, you've been in the broadcasting industry for radio since the early '80s.
Right.
I've been in broadcast television since the late 2009. So
Yeah.
the late 2010s. And even from that time frame to now, it's changed. And what's interesting is it's kind of a weird blending of prosumer and professional equipment because you have a lot of content creators that are doing large studio productions now, YouTube studios. I mentioned it to you in our call, is that I got to network with so many great people. I got to meet a lot of the people that my boss has known for decades across the industry. And what was cool was we were meeting with one specific vendor when another guy came up and was talking to our vendor real quickly because he knew them. They went to college together.
Right.
But it was the lead. I don't remember what his title was, but like the lead content developer for Dude Perfect.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's pretty cool.
So I mean, if you're listening to this and you don't know who Dude Perfect is probably one of the largest YouTube channels that exists based off of, the internet. Like they one of the largest YouTube channels that exists. So, they were there because they're looking for new equipment for a new facility they're building for their studio. They're building another large studio on their property for Dude Perfect. And
for people, it had to be kind of eye-opening for you, for people who say, well, there's no money in broadcasting on YouTube. There's no money in, creating content. You find that to be absolutely, I mean, they're going to build a studio. And
the dude, you have to put this into perspective, right? The Dude Perfect just started off as like three guys, right? Three guys doing a YouTube show. It blew up. Then they had enough money to build a 40,000 square foot studio.
Mm.
Now they're adding on an additional 40,000 square foot building that has sound stages and other sets, and they're developing and expanding their brand. So,
wow.
Literally everything you need to have your entire production taken care of, you could get in NAB. And it's meeting with industry reps, it's meeting with vendors, it's meeting with your sales, the people that take care of you on the sales teams and stuff. I met more people that I've talked to on the phone or via email for the first time, which is great. And I met new people that I hadn't met.
It had to be kind of cool, Shawn, because you do use a lot of gear, obviously for the games that they do at Notre Dame, where you're working and stuff. So this might be for you the first time actually reaching and meeting somebody that makes a tripod or makes a mount or makes the camera or makes something that you use in the production booth. That had to be kind of a cool experience.
Yeah, I got to talk to the people that make the products too, right?
Yeah.
I got to talk to the product developers for our intercom system, for the guy that works on the lenses for Canon. It's like I got to talk to these people and get to know them and get to provide feedback to them, saying like, this is what we're using it for. This is a use case that we're using it for. This is why we like this product, and this is the feedback that we can give you on, our client's experience with your product. And that's all just the name of the game, right? It's just part of the business. It's part of why NAB is so great, is you get to meet with all these great people.
Now, when it comes to products that really stood out, was there something that you saw at NAB that made you say, whoa, and maybe it's not even out yet, but it's going to be coming out because that's the neat thing about this show that you said, oh, this is something we need to eventually get to help our workflow.
Right. So a lot of people went into NAB saying AI is going to be in your face.
Oh yeah,
Right. It was there. It was prevalent. What you saw a lot in terms of AI was AI audio mixing, AI camera tracking,
right,
and some AI editing tools. I mean, a lot of AI editing tools. The AI audio mixing is cool because you could simulate. There's a company called Salsa Sound.
right,
They make a product where you provide it audio and you map it out on basically, say, soccer, for example. That's what we're going to demo it for. You map it out and say, here's where this microphone is on the pitch. Here's where this one is. Here's where that one is. Here's where my announcers are. And you feed it you feed it the specific audio for those locations, and then it auto mixes as it follows the game.
wow. Now
So
that's pretty amazing.
as the ball goes to the left hand side of the field, as the mics pick up more audio, it brings the mics on the right side of the field down and brings up the mics on the left side of the field. It auto mixes based on some vision AI, but also mostly just audio AI. Basically,
Right.
the mics are quieter on the north end, so it's going to be loud. The play is actually happening on the south end. So, but it can gate, it can auto gate, it can limit, it can do all this stuff automatically.
Does that worry you though? I mean, let's face it, we talk about how cool AI is. We've used AI in different sources, different ways, but you have technical directors and I've worked in a TV studio before as well. They say take camera 1, take camera 2, take camera 3, and you're using, multiple cameras. Will AI eventually be the one to choose? Like, hey, the ball is running down this way. We're switching to this camera.
So you say that Ross is a company that provides tons of broadcast features across the industry. They're one of the largest in the industry. They demoed on stage a AI listening, uh, basically technical director,
Right. Ooh.
where the CEO of Ross walked across the stage and was talking about the weather. And it not only did AI cutting in terms of cutting cameras, but it actually put in graphics. It put in, like, he talked about the weather. I'll have to look up the Ross 2025 NAB keynote. I don't
Right.
remember what they called it, what they called the specific product, but he was just talking about, well, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and it automatically changed the graphics, showed the 7-day forecast, and he could kind of just pick and choose what he wanted to say, and it would automatically change the scene.
My
It would
gosh.
but it was also interpretive, so it could anticipate what he was going to talk about next, and it automatically changed the green screen graphics. It automatically changed the cameras. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
I will say it was interesting to see. They showed a live output of the transcription. Man, did it get a lot of words wrong.
Did it really though? Yeah, that could be
So
a problem.
we're watching it side by side, like with what's happening versus what the AI is reading.
Right.
It didn't even get their own products right, which was kind of funny. But I mean,
Yeah.
for that to be happening that fast in the cloud, and because it was all cloud based, was pretty impressive. Because last year they did demo a guy sitting at his desk, hands in the air, saying, "All right, ready one, cut one, ready two, cut two, ready," and it was actually following along. So that's coming. We
Yeah.
know that's coming. Some more automation in terms of like the overdrive portion where a director goes in and they don't have a technical director. They just code the show based on camera shots and based on cues and things like that.
Yeah.
And then they just hit the space bar and it moves forward. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of newsrooms are automated.
Yeah.
Like they don't have a technical director, they don't have an audio operator, and rarely do they even have camera operators in the studio anymore.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
all just locked off shots, or they have robotic heads that will turn and
Mm-hmm.
zoom, and even some
Where
have
you're not
robotic
talking, you're
pedestals.
not talking about the talent. You're talking about the cameras with the robotic heads.
Right, it's not robotic, not robotic talent, even though some may seem robotic.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, so a lot of robotic, a lot of automation AI coming for that. Um, but a lot of the AI focus was on camera tracking. So not only broadcast cameras, but just PTZ pan tilt zoom cameras for, you put a camera up at the back of the room and it can focus on a subject and follow them, keep them in frame. You can then delegate one or two targets if you wanted, so they can say if this person's not there, track this person. Um, it's even getting to the point where they can say track player numbers and keep them in the middle of the frame. So
Oh,
it can
wow.
track. So you could have a medium to a wide shot tracking specific players.
Yep. Focus
Uh,
on the quarterback. Focus on, yeah.
yeah, focus. So based on facial recognition or player identification, things like
So
that.
it's
So
changed a lot. And I think we're going to continue to see those changes. Some people have said we're going to see eventually AI newscasters, which I don't know, because I'll be honest with you, when I see something I tend to look away. I tend to not be interested in it.
well, right. So I mean, we've talked about the. I say this phrase a lot. We've talked about this on the show before. So maybe we're future predicting here. The uncanny valley,
Hmm.
right? People are going to know, and it's all about consuming content, right? Like
Right.
the more content you consume, the more you get used to it. But I don't think people are gonna understand when it's AI. People are gonna hear AI. People are gonna see it, and it's gonna be off-putting. I don't think we're gonna get there, especially in the maybe in the smaller markets where there's
Yeah.
not money to be made. But the larger markets like KSWB, Fox 5 San Diego, New York, LA, like those places, they're so rooted in community in those places. I doubt we'll see AI.
But in the smaller market stations, that could be a possibility, especially if mom and pops, you wonder if mom and pop stations would be adaptive to it. I don't know. I think it depends on the broadcaster. Like, this is a small station that we're on in here. The owners are very committed to being community oriented, very, very about being local. They do a lot of talk segments that are featured on that. And I don't think you can get that with AI delivery. There are jukebox stations that I've heard that you can hear in this market that are basically, you know, just basically a jukebox. Now, when it comes to ATSC 3.0, that's been a big thing. Was that covered at this year's NAB?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was. I mean, but to what extent? I mean, the future of television, right? It is what it is, but it's who's adopting it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's moving to it, but what station group in the U.S. is doing 4K? Nobody.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting because we talked a little bit about this because really the only reason to go 4K is just to say you can.
Yeah.
And NHK in Japan is 8K because they can, and they're nationally
Wait,
proud of it.
8K over the air?
Yeah,
Oh,
NHK
wow.
in Japan is 8K over the air, and they're the only reason is because they can,
Yeah.
and they
Wow.
can say we're the first country to do it. And they're proud of that. But there's no, but who's watching it in 8K? I mean, I don't know. It's Japan. Who could be everybody, but there's no reason to do 4K over the air yet. I mean, we're never probably going to go more higher than 1080p HDR
Right.
for because there's no benefit beyond that for us. Um, but I mean, some replay stuff maybe in 4K down the road, but that's UHD. I mean, you're running into a whole different level of how do you monitor that? How do you get it from point A to point B easily? There's a lot that goes into jumping from HD to Ultra HD.
All right. So, who had the biggest booth at this year's 2025 National Association of Broadcasters show?
Probably Sony.
Sony, really? For, well, everything, right? Cameras,
Oh, they had
software.
everything.
Yeah.
Cameras from their still camera line all the way through their broadcast line, their switchers, their broadcast line. It
Mhm.
was wild how much their booth took up. When I walked through it with you, you'll see it.
Yep. Now, what about DJI? DJI has been one of those companies that is huge. DJI is enormous. Were they there because of, some of the stuff they're going through now?
So they definitely were there. They actually had a larger booth than I thought they were going to. Um, they released their Ronin R5. I think it's the Ronin R5.
Yep.
It's basically a really high quality camera built onto a gimbal. It's literally a all-in-one camera gimbal that you can mount cinema lenses to,
Oh wow.
and it's battery powered. It's great. It's incredible looking, and it's been used on a bunch of feature films recently. So they were demoing that. They had their Osmo line there. They had their Action Cam line there, and they actually had their power banks there, which
Oh
we'll talk a little bit more about that. But
yeah.
it was interesting how there's a lot of there were a lot of vendors that I saw that either had their own version of power banks or were powering their equipment with other vendors' power banks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
here, look at our remote kit. Look at our remote setup. Here, we're powering our whole booth off of lithium ion batteries. So everybody has their own. The technology has gotten so much cheaper. Well, maybe not now with whatever's coming with tariffs and stuff, but it's approachable. It's you can get this for relatively inexpensive. That'll power all of your lights. It'll power your laptop. It'll power your camera. It'll power remotely. You don't have to have a generator that makes noise, right?
Right.
A fanless unit. It makes enough power for what we need, for what they need. So DJI, and I just heard people overheard people saying, I didn't know DJI made these. I didn't know.
Really?
Well, who knew? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not something it just kind of shadow dropped in the middle of the night one night. And, I bought one. I bought the 1000, whatever, the DJI Power 1000,
Right.
and it's been great. And once we're done talking about NAB and we come back from break, we'll talk a little bit more about specifically me using that in a
And this
scenario.
is a good, and I'll tell you, we talked about it before the show. It's a good reason for people to get one. I have a power bank. It's not that one. It's the one from, I think it's Anchor. And I mean, I like it. It's okay.
I
It's
would say
good.
that you're going to see a lot more vendor specific battery packs, DJI, Small
Mm.
Rig, a handful of other companies I saw that were there. A lot of them. Some of them were doing some big ones too. Big
Yeah.
honking. I mean, on big wheels that are really heavy that you probably can't take on airplanes.
All
I
right.
mean,
So I'm wondering now, you mentioned the word tariff. Of course, there's been a lot of concern how that's going to affect the technology industry. There was a word that we're not going to see the tariffs on that. And then the next day we were told, no, no, no. Somebody misspoke. We are going to see tariffs on some of the technology that's coming out of China and whatnot. But I'm wondering, did you see any U.S. manufacturers of drone products there at NAB? Because
the only drone stuff that I saw. I'm not saying this because I didn't look right.
yeah,
DJI didn't even have. I don't even think I saw any of their drone stuff out on the floor. There was
oh,
hardly
wow.
any drone stuff at all
Right.
at NAB. I mean, I know that 4 or 5 years ago, it was the only thing people could talk about was drones, how easy it is. But people have moved on from, like, drones are cool, but yeah, they're a key piece. But I didn't see many other. There was some literature about them, but I didn't see any big booths that had this is all we do is drones, or
Right.
that kind of thing. But the companies that we talked to, some of them did mention, well, we're going to have to, we're probably going to have to boost our prices by 20% for tariffs, or,
Yeah.
or, hey, we spun up, our research and development center in the U.S. is now where we're putting our pieces together. So it's now
Yeah.
assembled in the U.S. So you don't have to pay tariffs. And so that was a common topic among our vendors, because not, we have a lot of Canadian vendors that work in the broadcast industry.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see where that's going to go, and that could jack up our price on the equipment by 20% potentially for certain things. So
Now you talked about that one gentleman you had met with the YouTube channel. Did you find there were a lot of influencers or internet companies that were there that want to create content for the web, and they would be using this kind of stuff? I mean, in the video that you can actually see in this video, there was even a car with all the camera mounts, and like you would see them making a big screen movie. They could do this stuff now. Creators can do this kind of stuff.
well, yeah, I mean, it's not just television anymore. It's not just broadcast. It's television, it's radio, it's broadcast, it's internet, it's cinema, it's
Hmm.
everything that in terms of production. Like, the production value for the internet is there, and you had all the major parties involved. All Netflix, they were all there. They all had
Even
presence.
Netflix, really?
Yeah, so they all had a presence. So I mean, Netflix is a major broadcasting platform now. Live sports have been on Netflix. It's a and the other big thing that was at NAB this year was cloud production. Like what everybody has a cloud solution,
Yeah.
and it makes sense that these companies are building cloud platforms because if you have a cloud platform or a cloud product, this is my opinion on this, it's easier for you to get into their ecosystem. So let's say, like for us at Notre Dame, we use Ross Expression for our graphics packages, our score bugs, etc. They
Right.
offer a expression in the cloud package, meaning I can just pay Ross X amount of dollars for a license and then pay Amazon the price of the time that I'm using their instance online, right? So they're whatever their S3 bucket or whatever their E2 whatever the instance is called.
And you say Amazon for listeners who don't know, 'cause AWS. That's what it is.
AWS, yeah,
Yeah.
whoever your cloud provider is. It could
Yeah.
be Azure, it could be AWS, it could be whatever. It's going to be easier for people to do smaller level productions at a scalable cost.
Right.
Meaning, I could get expression level graphics on my show if I only need one graphic or two fonts or something, and I'm only spending, you know, $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever it's going to be, instead of getting a $15,000 server and having a $10,000 license attached to it perpetually.
Yeah. All
So
right.
you're gonna be able to time gate yourself a little bit. You're gonna be able to bring costs down based on the volume of your production, but spin up more if you need it. So everyone has a cloud production. Everybody has some sort of cloud production service, which it's going to, in my opinion, it's going to go towards a SaaS model,
Mhm.
software as a service model,
Uh,
meaning
Yep.
software will be available to you in the cloud. You pay for it to be installed on your Amazon Web instance or Azure or whatever, and then you use it. And then when it's off, you don't pay for it. You could spin it up, you pay for it. When it's
Right.
off, you don't pay for it. So you're going to be able to get more money for your volume of content than if you just had hardware on prem.
One of the big companies that has really gone deep into SaaS is Adobe. And I've talked about my issues that I've had recently with Adobe, but were they there because they are putting out some really great products when it comes to the post production process of whether it be photography or videography or even film.
Yeah, I mean, you had Blackmagic, Adobe, Avid, all the major partners, all the major players in that space were there showcasing their stuff. It was cool to be able to walk around, and you'd go over towards the Adobe booth and they'd have an editor from a major movie picture giving a talk
Oh
showing their
wow.
timeline on the screen and how they did it and how they used how they used AI, or how they, basically showing how they did things.
Oh, that had to
Um,
be great to see.
and then they had workshops. I could have sat and done workshops on generative AI with Firefly and other things like that. So they're all there and they're all pushing towards AI, and
Yep.
they're all going software as a service. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I don't foresee it ever going back to not that way, because they're just it's so much easier for them to push forward in terms of advancement in technology than say we're going to gate this behind the newest version
Right.
and forcing you to pay for a new version. You can just pay X amount a month and get the most up to date and keep moving forward, and you can choose when you stop, and that kind of stuff. But
All right.
it
So I have to ask, have you been to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show? All
no,
right.
I've not.
So you've been now to NAB. So now what we have to do is we have to plan for you to be able to go to CES in January, so that way you can kind of compare them and see which one kind of holds more interest for you, so you could check that out. Because either
Yeah,
way,
I mean, I've followed CES, and I know you guys have been to CES, and the Consumer Electronics Show. It intrigues me because I'm a techie,
Mhm.
but I don't care about robot. I don't care about vacuum robots and ring doorbells that are gonna
Yeah.
shock the delivery guy when he doesn't deliver my package. I don't know, like it's stuff like that that
That's a good
I
thought.
like. I like conferences, and everybody told me, it's like, oh, make sure you wear good shoes, and because you're gonna walk a lot. I was like, it's not like I haven't been to conventions, right? I just
Yeah.
haven't been to broadcast. I've been to gaming conventions. I've been to other conventions. So it's like, I know I'm going to walk a lot, but
Right. All right. So we got to take a break. So here's what we're going to do. For those watching the video, and you might want to jump in, check out the video. We're going to air the walkthrough that Shawn did for the National Association of Broadcasters show. You could watch that. We'll come back on the radio with more of Tech Talk Radio. Matter of fact, if you've been thinking about getting one of those electric power banks, why you want to do that, Shawn is a great example of that when we come back. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Find us on the web at techtalkradio.com. We'll be right back.
But it's kind of cool because right now Shawn is on the floor of the National Association of Broadcasters big NAB show, and you can watch the video and actually see him. It's really cool. Shawn, how you doing out there in Vegas?
Good, yeah. So I've been here since Saturday, and it's been incredible. I mean, it's nerdtopia for what I do. So I've gotten to meet with so many of our vendors and so many of our partners, and it's everything you can imagine. It's incredible.
It's kind of cool because not only is it you've got broadcast television, you've got IPTV, you also have radio being represented on the show floor. You know, I wanted to check out the Harris Allied booth, the Aracles, that they have their boards and see what they've got new. You've been able to, you kind of get a view of everything, right?
So it was interesting because we were talking about this just a little bit ago, is that it's not just broadcast anymore. It's broadcast, it's radio, it's content creation. I was visiting a vendor, and the guy who drives all the content for Dude Perfect came up and started talking to us.
Oh, wow.
So the guy behind Dude Perfect, the guy who does all the technology, all the editing for Dude Perfect, was just there. It's just, you meet so many unique people from in this industry that you never would be able to meet at any other type of conference.
Would you say, now this is your first time attending the NAB show, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. I really can't describe it. It's incredible.
So it would be hard to judge to say, like, has it gotten bigger? But I've been to NAB before. Just watching you walk around the hall, I see the Canon booth you just walked by. Right now, you're walking up to, let's see,
RTS, Planner. I mean, it's everything. There's so many places I didn't know existed, and it's just incredible. Here's a crane, a crane car company that does cranes. We've got this huge pedestal.
I got to see this is so cool.
So it's a company that does all sorts of crane stuff, and you can see they've got their crane up there. It's just a company. It's called Tilta. They do all sorts of robotics and crane stuff. I mean, I kind of walked the other way, but it's just so much to do. There's B&H. B&H has a big booth where they're doing production stuff. There's this robot driving around wirelessly that's got all sorts of stuff. Doing crane, ped up, down. It's running an Ari with a huge lens on it. It's all RF based. You've got Cartoni, probably one of the best tripod manufacturers out here, and it's the whole booth. I mean, it's everybody you can think of in the broadcast industry is out here. It's looking for us to buy stuff. I mean, we've met with so many good vendors and had so many good conversations about the future of what we need to do. And it's just, I don't know, I'm in awe. It's just awesome.
All right. Now, so you talk about some of these vendors. This would be for the solutions when it comes to broadcasting on the campus at the university, right?
Yeah. So it's not, we're here primarily because we're looking for what the future of our IP world looks like, right? So we're looking for a new orchestration system. We're looking for just whatever we can do to make our stuff better. But it's also, I can look, okay, here's Insta360, right? Here's their booth.
Wow.
They're demoing all their new stuff. Here's the DJI Osmo booth. They got all their stuff over here, which is all cool. There's the DJI Power block, right? So they've got all of their stuff here. DJI's got all of their stuff here.
You know, what's amazing though is this is, you think of the National Association of Broadcasters, and we think professional broadcasting organizations, high-end studio cameras. Now you kind of have a merging of consumer, like Insta360 and DJI, that have their consumer divisions, but also pro divisions that help out those filmmakers and broadcasters.
Well, that's what I mentioned, right? It's not just professional broadcast anymore. It's content creation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's content creation based on YouTubers and other content creators, and they can't get ruled out anymore. So these companies have to put pressure on the big. It's just I don't know. There's so much here. I just can't really even.
No, if there was one thing, Shawn, while you're walking the show floor, which is great. This video is amazing if you get to jump onto the website and see it at techtalkradio.com. But if there was one thing that you said that you're walking around and all of a sudden it jumps out at you, what what would it be that you want?
Well, the one thing that stuck out to me is the lack of AI. There's not as much AI here as I thought there was going to be.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
So I mean, there is some AI stuff in terms of like smart people tracking and identification and some some metadata information and maybe some smart audio tracking that AI mixing and stuff like that. But really, it's not in your face. Like I was expecting it to be much more AI based,
Right.
much more in my face AI.
Now, like I'm looking at this company to the right of you right now, that is green screen material.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of green screen stuff. One of the cool things, I can't even remember their name now. Slider, I don't remember, but they do virtualization. So XR, AR, live camera tracking, and stuff like that. So here's some RF equipment. You've got transmitters, you've got radios, you've got pretty much everything you can think of. Here's the big Sony booth. The Sony booth is ginormous. I'll just pop through here real quick. You've got the fiber and cases and stuff like that. So
one of the other companies that we've talked to recently, a couple of times.
So here's the Sony booth. Look how big this Sony booth is.
Oh my Lord, this is huge.
So,
And Sony runs the gamut. You've got cameras, you've got televisions or monitors, big screens. I mean, you got pretty much everything there.
yeah, it's everything you can think of in a broadcast world. It's almost everything, including prosumer. It's just
Right.
everything is here.
All
Because
right,
the
now,
line is so finely blended between prosumer and.
I was talking about one of the companies we've had on the show a couple of times, Sub2R, and I don't know if you've been able to run into them yet, or if they're on location there.
I list of people. I just don't even know.
Yeah,
I can't get to everything,
yeah.
So
Well, you're going to certainly
yeah,
try.
it's
And tell us about this show, NAB Las Vegas. How long does it last?
so it's from it was from Saturday to Wednesday. So I'm
Wow.
I'm here until Tuesday. I'm here until Wednesday morning. So
Right. Well, this is awesome. This is a great look at the National Association of Broadcasters show. Next time we do a show in studio, maybe you could give us a wrap up. Tell us like some of the things that you saw that you thought were pretty cool, right?
oh, for sure. Yeah, I've got, we've met with, I've had meetings on meetings on meetings and meetings about what our upgrade plan looks like for the next 2 years, and like vendor meetings and meeting with, I met with the director of engineering for the NHRA today. I met with, like I said, I got to meet the creative content lead for Dude Perfect. I've met with a lot of the upper echelons of people involved with a lot of our vendors. So it's just been incredible.
Well, this is great. It's like walking the show floor in Vegas. Shawn, be safe out there. Have a lot of fun. And, are you going to be spending any money there this week on equipment, or is it all pretty much you set it?
No, this is looking ahead and future planning. But, I won't tell you how much I've lost at blackjack.
Yes. Well, we hope that turns around for you. Shawn, thanks for being a part of this special Tech Talk Radio exclusive at
yeah. Do you want me to go talk to the people at not CalRec, Comrex, and ask them why your DBXs keep failing?
Yeah, can we do that? Yeah.
I saw them and I thought I saw them. I walked by their booth and I saw them and I almost stopped and asked them about it.
Yeah, well, no, the Comrex is working. Comrex makes so many great products. It's the DBX, which is made by, it's a different company that we went through 4 of them. And I hate
Oh, well, then tell me that company. I'll go harass them. That's the cool. I'm just gonna, that's the cool part about this business. It's like we've had some issues with some of our products, right?
Right.
And I got to meet with the product developers and tell them. I got to air my grievances with the people that can make change.
now that's
and
pretty
they're
cool.
like, we're sorry you had this problem. Like, here's what we're doing to actively in development. So this is a great place for us to push our ideas a little bit and get some information from them about what they're doing to make it better.
One of the big problems I've had recently is with Adobe. Is Adobe on site?
Yeah, their booth is ginormous.
Is it? Yeah. I
Yeah,
can
you want me to go
imagine.
talk to them about your subscription and why you can't use your old license anymore?
Yes, there you go. Perfect. See, there's so many reasons to be at NAB Las Vegas. That is great.
All
Well,
right, Andy, you enjoy, and I'm gonna get out of here. We're having dinner tonight downtown on the strip. So
Ikigami, man, I haven't seen that name of that company in a while. They make some great cameras. Yep.
they make great cameras, they make great monitors, they make all sorts of good stuff.
Awesome. Shawn, thanks again and be safe, okay?
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
All right, there you go. Shawn DeWeerd on the floor of NAB Las Vegas. We'll have more Tech Talk Radio, so make sure you keep it here at techtalkradio.com.
Before the break, Andy was mentioning that I was going to talk about my DJI Power Bank that I bought. We talked a little bit about because I saw it. They were at NAB, and boy, am I glad I bought it.
Now you got it. It was a push sale that just showed up in your inbox.
I got an email from DJI saying get up to 40% off or something.
Wow.
And then I saw that it was on sale on Amazon for like 30% off. And I was like, there's no way if I put this code in, it's going to give me more than that. And sure enough, I put the code in and it dropped it down to like $3.99 or something. It was ridiculous. I got it for way cheaper than I should have. So it's the DJI Power Bank 1000.
Oh man,
it's
enormous.
It's pretty big, but it's got AC out, it's got DC out, and it's got the ability to plug into solar panels to charge it.
Is that a Bucky sticker you have on the top of that?
Yeah. An Alienware sticker, a Bucky sticker, a Wise lamp sticker on there, which
Perfect.
I'll explain the Wise lamp sticker here in a second. So
which model is this?
This is the DJI Power 1000.
1000. All right, good.
Yeah, 1000. So, we had a really bad storm come through central and northern Indiana, beginning of the month.
Okay.
And we're watching it roll through, no big deal. And then, the lights just flickered. Uh-oh. And then the power's out.
Oh, man.
So most of our area, the greater South Bend area, didn't have power.
Right.
It was 4:00. It was a Sunday. It was 4:00 in the afternoon, right? It wasn't too bad. So we were like, okay, whatever. We, weathered it out. It was like, oh, well, power's out. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And then Max is like, I want to watch YouTube.
Oh boy.
Oh, how are we going to do that?
Right.
Oh, it's getting dark. How do we got to turn some lights on. So I was like, oh, hey, let me run to the basement. So I ran into the basement and I pulled this bad boy out.
Right.
And I plugged in a lamp to it. And then I was like, well, why don't my UPS is on. I have a UPS plugged into my internet.
Right.
So my internet never went out. So I was like, oh, I still have Wi-Fi. That's good. Because
Cool.
the cell phone service in our neighborhood stinks. So I was like, oh, I have Wi-Fi. I wonder how long the UPS will last.
Right.
So I plugged in one of my lamps to this, and I plugged in the power strip that fed my internet. And we had internet and a light in our living room.
Oh, cool. All right.
And it has a power draw meter on it. And those three things, the modem, the router, my TV, and the lamp, it said it was going to run like 19 hours.
Are you kidding me? 19 hours? Oh, that's great. I was thinking at tops, maybe 2 hours. No?
No, it gives you a power draw, and I think it was pulling something like 40 watts of power, maybe.
Right.
So and then I thought, well, I probably need to plug in my fridge.
Oh, there you go. Good eye.
So I ran an extension cord to this and powered my fridge.
Did it draw very much?
Oh, it drew a lot more. And then it said, oh, you like about 10 hours or less.
But still, that's good.
Yeah. And then at that point, once we knew we were going to be without power for more than 24 hours, I have a 3,500 watt inverter generator that I ran outside, turned it on, ran the extension cord in the house, and, powered the fridge and the freezer and took the load off this from the fridge.
Right.
But this was great. And
could you charge that at the same time off the 3,500 generator outside?
You sure can. And there's this fancy little switch on the front that says 1,200 watts or 600 watts Well,
Ah.
when I plugged it in, it was in the 1200 watt mode. And boy, did my generator let me know it was pulling 1200 watts.
Oh,
I
oh,
plugged it into charge, and my generator it was like, whoa, hey, I gotta put more power out. Because then I looked, then my generator the generator kicked into high mode because it was pulling 1200 watts
right.
just to charge this, let alone also run my fridge and the freezer. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna back that down a little bit. So I put it in the 600 watt mode, and it settled down a little bit.
Nice.
When we got power back, we were without power for we were over 48 hours. So we didn't have
Oh,
power for
wow.
2 days. So when this was plugged into the generator, it charged, and then obviously when it was full, I just ran the pieces that I needed off just this, cell phones. It's got USB-C on the front, so we plugged our cell phones into it, plugged our smartwatches into it overnight, um, and but from like a 10% charge on this, when it was finally like I needed to charge it once our power came back on.
Right.
This thing went from zero, like a 10 or 12% charge to full in like 35 minutes.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was
That is good.
crazy because it just yanks so much power out of the ether. And it was really great. So very happy with the DJI Power 1000. And
How much? Now that was, you got it for $399. What do they normally go for?
I don't know, like $700 or something. I'd have to
Oh,
look to see what they're going for Amazon right now. Let's look Amazon. Let's see what she's got.
I know that in,
Uh,
Southern Arizona, we deal with monsoons quite a bit. And we've had those situations where we've lost power for an extended period of time. This would be pretty good to have around. I mean, UPSs are great, but again, those are, most UPSs are designed so that'll give you time to shut down your computer systems, so you don't have any data corruption or whatnot. This is a way to go beyond that and actually power your stuff.
yeah, and you can obviously have it plugged into power and be feeding it off the AC side. So if you wanted to treat this as a UPS, you really could and
Hmm.
draw your power from the AC side while still plugged in and charging. I wouldn't recommend that. That's just going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
decrease the life of the battery. But they are $699.
That's still not bad. I mean, it's something to have. And the battery in that will continue to last. You just recharge it. It's not like disposable. Once it's done, it's done. No, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, but what I also like too is on the side, I didn't notice before, but there are quarter 20
Right?
mounting holes here. So like I could mount tripod arms or other pieces on here. I could mount things on here with the quarter 20 mounts, like a ram ball mount to I could put an accessory on, or so there are mounting options available quarter 20 on the side, so you can put
Wow.
I don't even know what you want to mount on there, but like I can imagine like maybe mounting an umbrella or a holder for your phone or some other piece of hardware you'd want to mount to it. But
When it comes to the power banks, if you don't charge it, obviously you're not going to get a full charge out of it. When you do a full charge on it and you just put it aside and you're not using it, does it retain that, or over time does it tend to just dwindle up? We've seen some devices actually go pretty quick.
well, so this is the newer chemistry, right? The lithium iron phosphate, lithium iron
Right.
Life Po 4,
Okay.
lithium iron whatever it's called, Life Po 4. You'll see it.
Mhm.
That's the newest kind of chemistry for these types of batteries, and that's what's in here, right? So I know so that the chemistry is made to retain its charge better. It can have a higher amp draw on it, and it can also use more of the total capacity of the battery without having to be recharged. So
Wow.
I just also for my camper, uh, just bought a new 100 amp hour battery for my 12-volt battery for the camper with the new solar charger, plus another 100-watt solar panel for that also, so that I can have that while we're camping in addition to this. So off the grid we go.
There you go.
Not really, but we're going to be able to survive a little bit without running the gas generator.
This was your first chance to really put it through the big trial, and you're very happy with that then.
Yeah, I mean it was I just went and got it, turned it on, plugged in a lamp, and then ran an extension cord over to the UPS that was powering my internet router and my modem and my TV, and we had zero issues with staying connected and Max getting his YouTube fix
That's great.
during the power outage. So
That's great because kids they need to be entertained.
but
Seriously.
it's funny because Max, we had to explain to him like the power's out, like YouTube doesn't work,
Yeah.
and the lights in his room didn't work. So like his moon nightlight wasn't working, the hatch wasn't working.
Oh
So like
man.
he didn't have, so it was a lot more quiet in his room. Like he didn't have the sound, the white noise machine.
Right.
So that like the next, the next night where we had power, when he turned the light on in his room, he got excited. Oh, the power's back! Like he understood that we didn't have power, and now it's back, and the light works on power. So it was kind of a cool experience for him to see like power is required for a lot of the stuff that makes life convenient for us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I wanted to mention ZDNet. And Ed Bott is been on this show before. We had Ed on, gosh, early on Tech Talk Radio. And Ed talked about the deals. He's been talking about the deals with Windows 11 and Windows 10. There is a great article from Ed, if you go to ZDNet, about how to, if you can still do it, go from Windows 10 to Windows 11. Now, October is when support for Windows 10 will end. It does not mean your Windows 10 computer will stop working. There'll be a paid support version if you feel like doing that. But again, some people have said, well, I just want to upgrade my computer. If I could have upgraded my computer in the studio from 10 to 11 easily, I wouldn't have lost some software that I needed to do that. So right now, that Windows 11 machine I built, it's just sitting in the corner because I can't put the software on that to get it to work for what I need to do in here. But ZDNet also had a story this week about some of the problems that Microsoft is running into, and it makes you wonder what's going on there with a patch that they had put out, and it caused some problems.
Microsoft has been shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah.
First, it was the recall stuff with, hey, we're going to snapshot your computer every 2 minutes and upload it to the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. You're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Not to my computer. And then they had issues with USB devices in a recent patch, and now they're all claiming it's for security, but there's a new patch that came out for Windows 11 24H2 that created what they're calling a mysterious empty folder.
And the
So
folder is called iNetPub. I've seen it.
yeah, and apparently that folder is there to spoof malware into trying to take control of this folder. I don't know.
Right.
But if you delete that folder because you don't know what it is and don't know where it came from, good luck with your future Windows updates, because it could cause problems because it's looking for that folder. It doesn't know where that folder is, and who knows what problems you're going to start having.
Right.
It's like somebody telling you to go and delete your System32 folder.
Oh man, not good. Yeah, no.
Don't do that, by the way.
Yeah, please don't.
But yeah, it's just Windows. I mean, it's got to be hard to release software that is so massively consumed around the world in so many different languages, in so many different platforms, in so many different scenarios,
So many different pieces of hardware.
So many mission critical places, right? You're never going to catch every little bug, but I mean, come on. It's unacceptable things like the USB driver issues where if you upgraded and all of a sudden you just don't have USB, your USB devices aren't going to work anymore. Like
our shared folders that we have from one office to another, they went away once we went to Windows 11. So yeah.
I mean, I just don't know. And then Microsoft telling you, oh yeah, by the way, you are not going to be able to create a Windows. You're not going to be able to install Windows anymore without creating an account. And you can't use the super secret code to bypass the login anymore. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to create an account with Microsoft to install Windows, which is a bunch of BS in my opinion.
Yeah.
And because I just talked about this building the PC for my in-laws, their laptop. and the code didn't work. So maybe I got an early version of that where that code didn't work anymore, and I had to build him a profile using his Hotmail or his Gmail account through Microsoft, and then it created them having the OneDrive desktop, and then he put all his files on there, and it said it was out of space.
That was a mess. Yeah.
And it was a mess. So, like, just give me an operating system. Let me decide. Let me decide what I want to do.
Yeah.
I paid for it. I paid for Windows. Like, I'm not saying this because I got a free upgrade to Windows 11. I've paid for 2 Windows 11 Pro versions now.
Yep.
Because I want one. I have one on my play around machine, and I have one on my gaming laptop, on my gaming PC. Like, I want to have the features that are included with Windows 11 Pro. But dear God, make it a little easier for me to do what I want to do without having to sign up for some BS and give you all my data. I don't care. Like, I'm paying you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, listen, we got to take another break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. We got more stuff. We have listener email, and we love to be able to answer your questions for you. So we'll get to those questions coming up with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Find us on Facebook at Tech Talkers.
Okay, so listener email. We love this when you want to send us a question. You could drop us an email anytime. Just techguys, TechGuys, at techtalkradio.com, or you can reach out to us on our Facebook page as well. You'll find us on the facebook.com/Tech Talkers. So this one from Christy in Tucson said, "Hey guys, I listen to your show whenever I can, but I just got an email about renewing my antivirus program, Norton 360. It's $119 to renew and protect my 5 machines. Thinking, is it worth it? What could be my options? Thank you, Christy in Tucson." Oh boy, this one. I think we've kind of talked a little bit about this in the past, because I know you have different views of what might be better than Norton.
Yeah. So I mean, I've used different antiviruses over the years, right? And
Yeah.
it's not always been just antivirus, right? It's also been anti-malware, right? First with antivirus, because nobody really knew what malware was, right?
Yeah.
You had Trojan horses, you had virus attacks, so those types of things. So everybody either had Norton, McAfee, Kaspersky,
ESET. Yeah.
ESET. They all do their job.
Yeah.
But in the age of security, Windows has gotten a lot better. And I would recommend, and I think Justin and Matt would speak for this, and they're both IT professionals. You can really be secure without spending money just running Windows Defender. I mean, obviously, don't go in and turn your firewall off and allow every port to be able to be scanned on your computer and blah, 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 blah. By default, a lot of that is turned off. By default, they're protecting the users that don't know any better. But that doesn't mean run unprotected and, go surfing around the web unprotected.
Yeah.
My recommendation is, if you want a little extra protection, is you get Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes is a malware program that will run and scan and do things. And it's run at the enterprise level in a lot of places. So not just personal level. And so I run Malwarebytes, and it protects my PC.
Yep.
I don't even remember how many machines I have it on, but I run it on several machines.
We've even had it come up. You go to a website that's a legitimate website, they're feeding an ad, and the ad has malware features in that ad. Malwarebytes will flag it. It does a good job. So, yeah.
I'm looking to see what Malwarebytes would be to include multiple devices.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Norton's deal, and I'm on Norton. Norton's deal is 5 machines. I know that for a fact. And yeah, it is about $119 to renew it. One thing about Norton 360, if it's been a good antivirus program, but it's very naggy. So you pop in an expanded drive, it wants to search it for you. You get pop-ups all the time about, would you like to do this? Would you like to do that? It will try to sell you add-ons like LifeLock, which Symantec Norton owns. So it'll try and sell you for a membership in that to protect yourself for that information and get out there on the web. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad program. We've had representatives on the show. I like it, but there are other options. Now, what were you able to find out?
So I have the standard plan for Malwarebytes,
Right.
and it's just one device. So I'm only running it on just my PC. I thought I was running it on more, but just one.
Mhm.
And I think I pay like $6 a month.
That's not bad. Yeah.
If I wanted to do so, I just bumped it up to the plus plan with 5 devices, so that would equal what she has for her Norton, and it's 16.28 a month for 5 devices. That gives you the security, the browser guard, which runs in the background, basically looks at ads and all that stuff.
So
But then
it's
also,
actually more expensive than the Norton 360 for the 5.
yeah, but then it also gives you the VPN. I don't know if the Norton 360 gives
Yeah,
you
it
the
does.
Norton VPN. So I mean, it's apples to apples at this point. I just know that Norton does not always have the best reputation in the industry. It's good. There are plenty of options out there, right? Just try to avoid the free ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to avoid
what
getting
were
a
they? What
Vast
were
for
they?
free.
Avast.
Or
What was the other? There was another one that began with an A. I can't remember the name of it.
I can't
Yeah.
remember either, but yeah, just try to avoid the free ones because they'll try and hook you into, well, just scan your PC and pay $5.99 a month, or
Right.
and I still personally like running CCleaner.
Yeah,
It's
I've
it's
heard
it's
different things about that. Where some people say CC Cleaner is great, others will say it created a nightmare.
I have not had any issues with it. I use it just to do just registry cleanup and they have a really great uninstallation tool in their program where you can just uninstall programs really quickly through that. I mean, you can do that now with Windows. It's gotten better in Windows
Right.
before, where you had to just to try and find all the install files and stuff that
Some of these companies, though, will put a lot of files in different places.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, CC Cleaner can go in there and do that.
But I will say that CC Cleaner has not had the greatest security record.
Mhm.
This has probably been about 6 or 7 years now. They actually delivered a update to CC Cleaner
Oh, yeah.
that was malware.
Yeah. Yeah.
A Iranian hacker team was able to get into the back end and attach malware to the install file for CCleaner. So everybody that did the update,
Oh,
that version of CCleaner, got malware.
not good.
So
All
not
right.
good for a security company, but
So for Christy, you recommend Malwarebytes as one to look at?
yeah, Malwarebytes. And then if you really want to do a deep scan or a deep dive on your machine, Spybot Search and Destroy is a good one. Just avoid the free ones. I mean, you can pay for Norton. It's going to be, like I said, 6 one way, half a dozen the other. If you're still using Norton and you're comfortable with that, it's already on your devices, go with Norton. It's not going to hurt anything.
All right.
Malwarebytes is just kind of another alternative.
You want to pick that next question that we got?
The next question is,
Okay.
this is a fun one.
All right.
I found a folder on my computer that had a bunch of Flash videos.
Flash videos.
When I click on them, I can't do anything because I no longer have Flash on my computer.
Oh,
is there a way to see these?
That's FLVs, right? Isn't it?
Good question, Bill Chandler from Arizona.
It's actually Bill from Chandler, Arizona.
Bill from Chandler, Arizona.
Thank you, Bill. Sorry.
Grammar is important. When you put this in there, Andy, it looks like Bill Chandler from Arizona. I don't know.
Yes. So Flash videos, FLVs. Yeah, Flash was big. It was one time everything. You went to a website. If it didn't have Flash, it was a letdown. If it had Flash, it was ooh. But then they found out there were a lot of problems with Flash. And people moved to WordPress or that type of technology. You know, Flash, you go to a website now, and you might see a placeholder. It said, Flash, and you're, oh boy, that needs an update. What do you do? How do you watch a Flash video on your computer?
You'd have to convert them.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'll recommend my handy dandy web tool.
All right.
Handbrake.
Handbrake.
Handbrake.fr. Handbrake can convert Flash videos.
All right.
You can probably find a lot of free converters online for Flash videos.
How about VLC?
VLC will
it might
probably
just play them. It may not convert them.
Yeah, it may not play them. VLC is probably the best media player in the world.
Right.
It's free. Download it. It'll play literally anything you give it.
Just be careful where you get it from. But VLC.
Yes, make sure you get it from their it from their website.
All right. We got to take another quick break.
You should be able
All
to
right.
see it on one of those.
All right, Bill Chandler or Bill from Chandler, Arizona. Hopefully that helped you, but take a look at VLC if you want to convert them. I know Movavi does that. Handbrake is great because that's a free one. And then you may be able to go a little deeper into Handbrake and find out how to maybe rip your DVDs that you own, that you can have digital copies of them. It's a great way to use that program. All right, we'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. Follow us on X at Tech Talk Radio.
On television this past week, I got a chance to share something really cool. The slim, small design keyboard from Logitech called the Keys to Go 2. It connects to your smartphone, whether it be an Android or an iPhone, your laptop, your desktop, your any device that can accept a Bluetooth connection keyboard. And it could be folded and stored away. Matter of fact, it's small enough that you could fold it and put it in your jacket pocket, your inside jacket pocket. So when you need a keyboard, you've got it. The only thing is some people have said, well, wait a minute, it retails for about $79, but the K480 from Logitech is cheaper. You may be able to find that for around $45, $50. And they both have Bluetooth. They both have a selector switch, so you can switch it from Bluetooth 1, 2, or 3. So say you've got your smartphone in front of you, you got a tablet. You want to control the tablet, you just flip the switch, and you can control the tablet. Flip it to the other one, you can control your smartphone. Now, your smartphone will work good on that. If you're using Google Docs or something along that line, you want to type, or you're using, your notes in your iPhone. Either way, you might take a look at it if you haven't seen it yet. Again, that's from Logitech, the Keys to Go 2. Pretty good stuff. I don't know. I like the K480 because it's got a little rest there, but that's what I showed on TV. I also showed it connected to a monitor, and we used a J5 Create. It's an HDMI USB-C off my Android device to actually put our smartphone away and use a bigger monitor, use that keyboard. And it was actually a pretty cool thing. So,
I mean, I didn't know about this, so I just looked it up. It's pretty cool. It's tiny.
it's really small, and it's got a cover on it, so you could close it up. And again, put it in your laptop bag or put it into your jacket pocket if you're wearing a jacket pocket, or
And there's some different colors you can get, which is cool.
Yeah,
I mean, this would be great. Like if you're traveling and you have a laptop and you don't want to use the laptop keyboard, graphite, pale gray, and lilac.
There you go. You can find out more at Logitech.com. That wraps it up for this week's Tech Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in. Tell your friends about it, that they can see us on the web at TechtalkRadio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeerd. You can find us on the web, like Andy said, at TechtalkRadio.com. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Take care.